Move the Needle is a co-working community and event venue here in the Lackawanna building in Jersey City. And this podcast is my opportunity to tell the stories and share experiences with superheroes in the tri-state area or anybody that makes it to here. So I'm very happy, honored, privileged to have you, James, here. And I'm looking forward to learn about you and your story. For anybody that doesn't know you, like myself, prior to us coming together now, I've seen you as an innovator and a leader in the tech ecosystem of New Jersey for a good number of years here. So I'm very excited to have this conversation with you. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Jose. I look forward to this discussion.
Sweet.
Creators and innovators, what's your superpower? Welcome to the Move the Needle podcast with your host, Jose Espinosa, and special guest, James Barrood. Subscribe, follow, and connect with us at movetheneedle.io/podcast.
So let's get into it. I think the best thing is to allow you to share what do you do now and a little bit of how you got started in this realm.
Sure. So right now, I continue doing what I've been doing for many years. That means helping entrepreneurs, helping innovators, helping leaders grow and be more successful. And so could be helping startups, could be helping growth companies, could be helping corporations effectively engage the innovation ecosystem. It's helping universities be more entrepreneurial and engage the industry. So it's all the components of the innovation ecosystem, trying to help it be more robust or more vibrant.
And when would you say that, how long ago did that start?
Well, I started about 26 years ago now.
Really?
So it's been a while. And it's been a really great journey because I started, after college, I worked for a family business, mostly in real estate. And then I went back to school and did my graduate work at Texas A&M. So my undergraduate was at Rutgers, a proud alum. And then I went to Texas A&M for my grad school. And then when I graduated grad school, I came back to New Jersey, Central Jersey. And I was about to take a corporate marketing job at Brother International. Wow. And then I saw something in the paper to work at an entrepreneurship center. At the time, there was only a few.
Right, that's what I'm
across the country, right? So I was like, and I was always interested in entrepreneurship, coming from a family business, always reading about business and entrepreneurship. And so I said, why don't I do this for 2 or 3 years? And I ended up staying there 17 years. And it was just a fantastic experience of helping students, helping businesses, helping build that bridge between academia and industry, talking about entrepreneurship and innovation. And so that was a great experience.
So you went into this entrepreneurship center in Jersey. How was it back then? Like at that moment, like you think about startups are the fad, I feel like this generation. At that time, was it as new? Was it frowned upon? Like what was the energy around?
Well, it was Fairleigh Dickinson and it was called the
Hackensack?
Madison, but both campuses, but Madison was home base. And at the time, there was only about 24 entrepreneurship centers across the country. Now there's 3,000. Every university has one. So again, I just wanted to see what it was like and then move on from there after 2 or 3 years. And it was such a good experience, such a rewarding experience, maybe not the most lucrative, but it was great helping students, helping entrepreneurs, and being in that sort of environment where you could really make change. And I was really delighted to have that impact while I was there.
If I may ask, what's the age range when you started at the Entrepreneurship Center?
So I think I was in my late 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did say, I'm going to do this for 3 years, then move on to the next. Yeah. Within those 3 years, do you think there's a particular impact that you made or felt or saw during your tenure that kind of catapulted the extra years?
Yeah, I think sort of elevating sort of the importance of innovation, right? So I brought in some really important speakers. One of the most well-known innovation academic guru on the planet, his name was Clay Christensen, and then a few others as well. Then I brought in the CEOs of companies like Sharing Plow and Cognizant and others, and Novartis, and to really sort of raise the level of awareness and the importance of innovation. And so that was really something that kept me going. But there are other sort of side ventures as well. I remember we actually created an app, and we were one of the first people creating apps. And actually, so just trying new things, experimenting, innovating, that was really something that was very satisfying and kept me engaged.
That joy. I gotta say, funny enough, the first person or impact that you said was this innovation guru from around the world is somebody that you brought in. I feel like I'm doing that right now, having you here. So thank you. I wanna bring it back to, so you did that piece. Tech Council. What's the gap between Entrepreneurship Center?
Sure. Well, I was recruited from the Entrepreneurship Center to lead the Tech Council because the founder was retiring after, I think, 17 or 18 years. And so that was a neat opportunity because I had collaborated with that organization and the leader, Maxime Ballin, for years before that. So it was really a natural sort of extension of doing what I had done at Fairleigh Dickinson, to do on a larger plane or a larger community, larger geographic community, because the organization, while based in New Jersey, did stuff in Philly as well as New York City. Mm-hmm. So it was really great to take what I had learned and do some similar things, but also try some new things at the Tech Council.
So we're talking about all the glows between Entrepreneurship Center and Tech Council. Do you have any grows that you can share? Like what were some hardships in that journey?
Well, I think, let's just say there were still, working at a university is challenging, right? As rewarding as it was challenging working with folks who are in faculty, for example, or the politics of a university. And again, we were the gem of the university. So we were doing amazing things, bringing great attention and building the profile of the university from what we did. So we were really proud of what we did. But still, working within a larger, one of the biggest private universities, in the state was challenging. Just the dynamics of a university, politics, things like that.
What do you think is the biggest challenge with the university center? Because obviously that still exists as it relates to fostering innovation without being pulled by, I don't want to call it bureaucracy, but protocols and personal opinion, antiquated processes. What's the biggest hurdle?
Yeah, well, the ability to take chances, try new things, right? When you have a set sort of paradigm, right? And when universities have been doing the same thing for hundreds of years, sometimes it's hard to take risks and try new things. And when we talk about disruption, Clay Christensen, whenever you sort of disrupt the status quo, then there's pushback, right? So just some general realities whenever you're part of a larger organization, and trying to try new things.
Can you share one or two insights into navigating that?
Well, I think the most important thing to navigating any organization is building relationships. And the stronger those relationships are with people you like and people you may not get along with, are what is going to make you successful. Because if you need to get buy-in or get support or get someone to champion you to get your idea or your initiative off the starting line or over the next hurdle, it's important to have those allies backing you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I've had to learn that through trial and tribulation myself. What's your take on the current state of startup corporate academia, and can you compare to when you first started?
So I think the community here in the state and region have come a long way, plus nationally, plus globally, right? Everyone understands the importance of entrepreneurship and innovation. And so there's been a lot of money invested in building ecosystems or communities locally, regionally, nationally, again, around the world. So that has certainly changed. The amount of investor money that has been pouring into startups has changed, has gone to another level. And the amount of money being spread around the world has increased exponentially, which is great because now you don't have to live in Silicon Valley or Boston or New York City to get to take advantage of a great, robust community and get funding for your startup.
And to that point, it sounds like the war chests are full to support. What would be your advice to up and coming entrepreneurs in New Jersey and primarily in urban communities? Do you feel that it's easier, more challenging, and or what should they kind of gravitate towards or try to latch on or reach out for to get a better understanding?
Well, I think in general, entrepreneurship is easier than ever. Just the cost of starting a business, again, and do most things online. You don't have to buy all this equipment. You could just, get web hosting and go to a WeWork. You don't have to build all those structures, and so that helps immensely. So people could start and pivot, try new things pretty efficiently. And then, of course, there's talent everywhere, right? It'd be great to have your partner in the school you're at or in the community, but now you could leverage talent from around the world. And so, that means skills change, right? So those are the opportunities, right? Things are easier than ever, but there are challenges, right? You need to make connections. So now you have to leverage online as well as in person to build those relationships, which I said earlier were very important. They're very important for entrepreneurs. So that's a challenge that can be overcome just with discipline and outward engagement, right? But also leveraging digital skills, right? You need to present well, speak well, communicate well in virtual environments to take advantage and lead teams as well in virtual environments. So those skills are important as well. So it's those two things, right? Leveraging online virtual capacity and resources, but also building relationships. Again, hopefully in person if you can, but if not, virtually.
Sweet. So we've got leveraging the digital skills that now afford you the access to build, understanding how to navigate socially, so you can communicate and manage, and discipline, right? A commitment to self. Otherwise, life will drag you wherever it is. I wanted to ask you today versus then, the why. Why are you supporting? Why are you so interested? Why are you so invested into this space? And has that changed since you entered the Entrepreneurship Center?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's, I could pretty much work wherever I want, right? I have a lot of value to bring to the table, right? But I think at the end of the day, particularly during the pandemic, I realized that, I have the best job in the world, that could be intangibly satisfying, helping other people, right? And helping entrepreneurs or leaders or nonprofits or universities really be more successful. And that was really sort of illuminating for me, right? To know that I can continue to do this and have flexibility, have fun, pay bills, and so that's what I've been doing. And so I've been involved with a dozen or so startups in different sectors that have been sort of really fun to be
I was going to
engaged
say,
with.
it sounds like different industries.
Yeah.
Do you ever come across like an overlap on certain playbooks, like in terms of a sales strategy or marketing strategy, regardless of the industry?
Absolutely. In fact, I was just giving advice to an entrepreneur yesterday about, scaling, building the structures to scale, right? If you get all this business, will you be able to deliver? That is an age-old challenge. The beautiful thing is there's so many resources out there for entrepreneurs to get advice and to learn. And it's all essentially free. You can listen to podcasts like yours. You can go to YouTube, right? And so the other thing I would add to those few things that entrepreneurs need to do is just have an open mind and continue learning. That is so important. And if nothing else is clear here, the ability to learn and adapt and to be agile is going to be critical, whatever industry you're in, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. Because the reality is that most people are going to need to be entrepreneurial these days, especially young people. They're not going to have a job for 30 years or 10 years or even 5 years. It's mostly going to be short-term jobs, side hustles. They're going to be entrepreneurial, and they're going to do a lot of different things. That is the stark reality.
I was having a conversation with one of my partners, and I was talking about how interns nowadays, like back then, interns, you're lucky if you got paid. Nowadays, interns are rejecting just if it's not something that they want to do. Like that choice is impressive, and I'll be curious to see how that develops for that next generation on picking and choosing what they want to do. And to that extent, to start bringing it home, I'm curious in your thoughts on some of the top trending tech of today, Web3, AI, ChatGPT. Any things there that you feel really invigorate you for an oncoming newer economies or variation of them?
Yeah. Well, I think AI is all the rage right now. I mean, it's hard not to talk about that. And there will be opportunities coming from that. And again, I think we're going to have to adapt and leverage those opportunities and tech advances that are just going to get better and better. So it's about sort of leveraging them, hopefully not being disrupted completely by them, and building services on top of that AI, which is going to be one of the next areas which is going to really explode. Now, as far as Web3 and crypto and blockchain, that will grow as well, and there will be a burgeoning ecosystem involving that as well. I'm certain of that. And then I think other areas include digital health, health tech, fintech, climate tech, super hot, right? So we don't. So we
carbon credits.
Save our planet. Yeah. There's so much going on there. So those are just a few areas that are really exciting and really impactful.
And to that extent, you and I could have conversations around that based off of our experiences. One of the things that we look to promote is access to this information. What are some helpful ways from your years of experience to get this information to the hands of I'm going to just throw out immigrant families or first generation families or places where access is limited, at least locally?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any?
Yeah, well, and you bring up immigrants, and I'm a big advocate for immigrants, which make our country so much stronger. Right?
You had a TED talk on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, when you look at sort of the response to the pandemic, if it wasn't for immigrants, we'd be in real deep trouble right now, right? Without the vaccines and all the treatments as well. People don't realize. In fact, I didn't even know that 1/3 of our biotech workforce are immigrants or the kids of immigrants.
Wow.
So it's impossible to overstate the importance of immigrants to this country from everywhere around the world. So as far as immigrants getting, up to speed, again, everything's online. Just have to find it. And in fact, everything's translatable too if the English skills are not perfect. In fact, that's one of the use cases for ChatGPT is, some immigrant was not, I just heard this the other day, an immigrant was not comfortable with the emails he was writing because his English wasn't perfect.
Wow.
And he leveraged ChatGPT to
Let's
write
go.
really great emails. And so, those barriers that have historically been in place are falling, right? So the future is bright. We just can't get enough immigrants into this country as possible because we have shortages of talent and labor. And so that's my hope that those policies will change and we can sort of embrace immigrants. And so they won't go to Canada or go to other regions around the world where they're being attracted and retained. We need to attract and keep them here and not let them go back to their countries or their regions where they're recruiting them to come back.
Yeah, that's a big focus here at Move the Needle is to at least impart as much of the shared wisdom that the collective has to the immediate local community. Train locally, employ locally, because to your point, for some folks, it's just not understanding that you have these resources. There are still some cases where there is a digital divide. So, having hubs that focus on that education with a pathway to a conversion is what I like to call it.
Right.
So that ChatGPT, I love every day when I learn a new prompt. And so that one of somebody that's a foreigner with an email, which I think is a huge, which is a huge issue as it relates to those guys to leverage ChatGPT is pretty awesome. I want to ask you, I want to close it up and ask one question that I want to ask all of our guests going forward. Personally, myself and my partner at the beginning of the year, we'll do our vision board, right? To just reflect. It's a great practice that we've enjoyed and now do it together. And then we have a word that we commit for the year. I'll share my word, and I don't know if you have one, and I'd invite you to think about one. I won't hold you to it. My word is commitment. So commitment to myself. I'm somebody that's always been trying to make money as a son of a single parent household, gathered all the resources to not feel the need, right, for any want. So now I'm in a place of commitment to myself, to my health, my home, and in honoring myself, everything else blossoms in a balanced, well way. At least from my perspective, that's what I believe. Do you have a word for yourself for this year?
I have to say, I think it's engagement. And what does that mean, right? I mean, that's an important word for me because I bring people together historically and want people engaged in however they're interacting and whatever I'm convening. So that's really important. But I think personally, I'm going to be making up for lost time during the pandemic and doing a lot of, whether it's hosting people in person, whether it's dinners or other types of events throughout this year to really, again, engage old friends, new friends, strangers, right? Because I think that will be the most, satisfying thing I can do to sort of, again, make up for lost time and to not have any regrets when I look back at the end of this year saying, I don't want to say I didn't host enough people or meet enough people in person this year. And so that's my that's the commitment I have to myself for this year.
So later in post-prod, we're going to have like a rainbow come up and it's going to say engagement. You have anything coming up in the next couple of weeks, months that anybody should tune into?
Yeah, they're not public yet, but there will be some events and meetings coming up that that I'm excited about, actually. So, and I'll be speaking at conferences, hopefully in Rio, in Brazil, in May, and some other places. So, I'm looking forward to traveling a bit to participate in conferences. I was just in Jamaica last month, and that was wonderful. And so, I want to make sure I hit some of the warmer climates.
Well, anytime you're around here, I love to have you. I love to co-create with you whenever there's an opportunity here in Jersey City. I hope this is the first of a number of times that we engage one another, and I really look forward to the opportunities to co-create for the benefit of others. I thank you very much for being here. I thank you very much for being my first guest on the Move the Needle podcast.
Thanks for having me. I hope I did a good job.
Subscribe, follow, and connect with us at movetheneedle.io/podcast.